Viewers, the latest news about the ongoing conflict between Ethiopia, Tigray, and Eritrea is that getting news out of Eritrea is exceptionally difficult. It is, according to Reporters Without Borders, among the most difficult places in the world from which to report. But in recent weeks, news of the scale of the drive to recruit young men and women to be deployed in the war in the neighboring Ethiopian region of Tigray has become apparent. And the BBC produced a well researched article describing the burden this is placing on Eritrean families. Whereas many in the capital Asmara were given notice on Thursday and moved to the border with Ethiopia's Tigray region within hours. And reservists up to the age of 55 have been called up, they said, and families were in tears as they sent their relatives to a war in which, as the BBC explained in an article, hundreds of thousands have been killed. And the scale of conscription was reported to the United Nations Human Rights Council on June 14th this year. And thousands of conscripts have been forced into the Tigray conflict with men, women, and children taken and sent to fight on the front lines, said the special reporter on the situation of human rights in Eritrea. And one of the few ways of extracting information from behind the iron walls erected by Eritrea's only unelected president Isaias Afwerki is by speaking to Eritreans whose relatives are in the country or have recently left. This is what I have done in the past week, and this is what they said. For obvious reasons, it is impossible to name my sources. And the overall sense is of a country named with pain and fear. As one Eritrean recruiting from abroad said, there is a palpable sense of tension. And several times people said, you have come at a very bad time. And anyone of conscription age, men up to 60, are being picked up, but some women too. Even those who have not yet been called up are sent for training every day, 2 hours before their regular jobs. And this is prior to deployment to the front. And no one knows when or where they will send. The instruction is be prepared. And visitors comment on how quiet the streets are as families avoid their younger members being seen in public. It does not always work. Eritrea's notorious National Security Services goes door to door searching for anyone who has evaded the waves of conscription. And one Eritrean I spoke to described a man arriving home to find his wife being arrested because her son was in hiding away from their home. And the whole neighborhood rallied around and begging the security services not to take her away. Eventually, they relented, but not before their son had emerged and been marched off to fight. Conscripts can be forced to serve indefinitely. And the current conflict in Tigray has only the latest war that President Isaias has involved his country in. Over time, the population has become number to the loss of its citizens to war or indefinite national service, as conscription is called. And little of this is discussed in public. Eritreans have been living in a climate of fear for years, with neighbors spying on each other and even members of their own families, as the United Nations Commission of Inquiry on Eritrea reported. Through its extensive spying and surveillance system targeting individuals within the country and in the diaspora, the government engages in the systematic violation of the right to privacy. As a result of this mass surveillance, Eritreans live in constant fear that their conduct is or may be monitored by security agents. and that information gathered may be used against them, leading to arbitrary arrest, detention, torture, disappearance, or death. And they therefore engage in self censorship with regard to most aspects of their lives. And the sense of anxiety and distrust has left neighbors wary of sharing even the simplest information with each other, since no one knows who might be a spy. And one woman told me of her discussion with a friend: "We are sending our children to their death. They are not going to come back." Then she put a finger on her lips. In the capital, Asmara, hotels and restaurants are working at half their capacity because their staff have been called up. Every business has been told to let staff go to the front, but no one can complain in public. "Just stay quiet," people say, before glancing over their shoulders. And no one can be certain how many lives have been lost in the war against Tigray that erupted in November 2020. And Professor Tronovol, one of the best known Horn of Africa scholars, has worked on the region since the 1990s. In a series of tweets, he provided an assessment of the scale of the conflict. The world's biggest ongoing armed conflict is not Russia's attack on Ukraine, but Ethiopia and Eritrea's massive offensive on Tigray. A reliable estimate is that up to 1 million troops are engaged in the war threat, and the ongoing combined Eritrea offensive against Tigray use WW1 tactics of ordering massive human wave attacks on Tigray defense lines. Likely, as many as 1 lakh have been slaughtered over the last weeks. If this is remotely accurate, then the politics of the Horn of Africa will be shaped by this war for years to come. And for President Isaias Afwerki, this is probably his last throw of the dice. Now 76, he has attempted to use Eritrea as a platform from which the exert influence across the region since his troops captured the country from Ethiopia in 1991. So viewers, so far the latest update. For more latest update, please subscribe channel. Thanks for watching.